environment in the farms. I mean, why wouldn't you do that? It's as though almost people want to destroy the farms in the river by having this dump. It's just not necessary, Frank. It's just not necessary.
Well, speaking about it not being necessary, didn't you actually take a trip to New York State to look at something that was being done in New York State that could take care?
It's a miraculous system. Denise Bacon and I, who sits on the city council of the city of Newburgh, right?
Newburgh, yes.
Right. She and I traveled to upstate New York to what is considered the poorest county in the state of New York, which has a county-wide aerobic digestion system. It's a system whereby they take all of the garbage in the entire county to one place. They pre-sort a little bit of it to take out couches and big pieces of metal and things, but generally it's just put into a big hopper. It's gone through a series of trommels, it's sieved out, it's put into this long sort of 50-day composting interior system, so it's not smelling to the outside. And at the end of this system, they have sort of in this sort of series of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, conveyor belts.
Yes.
They've taken out all the plastic and the glass and the metal and the toxins, batteries, yes, and things like that. And what's left is sort of the cellulosic material, which they make beautiful, rich compost. 85% of the garbage in the entire county is taken care of by this system. And the 15% that's left, the part that they can't really deal with, they just throw over the fence to their landfill, which now has a continued life because they've taken all the garbage that they normally would have put into it,
yes,
for decades beyond what they had thought they were doing. And there's absolutely no reason why Yamhill County cannot do the same system. It's viable, it's proven, it's working, it's been going for 5 years, it's not cost prohibitive, and it's green, it's credible, and it creates more jobs. So the fact that this study came out and said the only option is a giant multi-billion, zillion-dollar smokestack incineration plant it's bogus. It's just not true. They didn't do their work, or for some reason, because I believe there was a sort of an inside track to waste management with this gentleman who was a very professional and very equipped engineer accountant. But nonetheless, all he did was look at his old home team, Waste Management. That's all we got was an analysis of what waste management could do for us. And there's a bigger world out there than waste management.
Well, that's the interesting thing, because I just came back from a 2.5 day conference of the Democrats of Oregon and in Sun River. And one of the persons that was staying in this house that we rented for the conference was the person that went with you to New York State, because that's where she was originally from.
Right.
Yes. And so here I'm learning about a small community, smaller than we are,
right,
that has handled this problem in a creative, constructive way, you see, that benefits everyone, including the environment.
Right. It's the pride of their county. It's the most impoverished. There's no jobs. There's no industry. It's in the middle of, the New York City watershed, which is being exploited. The New York City is taking all of that water and pumping it down into their city. This little county, their pride and joy is their solid waste system. Not only, Frank, does it take all of the garbage from this county, it takes the biosolids, basically the sewage, the sludge, puts it into the system. And so they don't have this horrible water purification, system. They've got this incredible aggregate of these two, municipal problems, sludge and garbage,
yes,
put them together and, pop out this incredible compost and all of these jobs. It's so doable and it's so right to do. And in fact, when I spoke to these people back east, they said, that they had a discussion with Waste Management. And Waste Management said that they weren't really interested in this technology because it was only for small places. They were looking for much larger, systems.
Yeah.
Right. And
why?
Exactly. I mean, this is Yamhill County. We don't need to be the exploited, repository for all of this out-of-county garbage. It's not right, and it's just ridiculous. And it's not environmentally savvy to be piling everyone else's garbage on our river and then allowing it all to be, the money all to be shipped back off to Texas. It's just imprudent and not smart financial,
Well, thank heavens
planning
for what you and Waste Not that you're involved as a public citizen here for the well-being of the whole region.
Well, it's so positive what could happen. I mean, it's positive even for waste management if they could come forward with one of these technologies, more, earlier than they claim they could. The problem is, Frank, it's very clear. Landfilling is a cheap way to deal with garbage. It's just one step up from, basically burning it in your can in your backyard. It's cheap. They put the capital expense in. They want to maximize their
profits.
Their profit, and no one can blame them for that. Yeah. But it's the county, the commissioners, who are setting policy and looking for the betterment of the entire county coffers.
That's right.
And that have this opportunity, this incredible opportunity. And I can't imagine why two savvy, bright politicians, Kathy and Leslie, will not take this opportunity to grab the control. This is it. If they grandfather in another extension of the landfill, the waste management will control the revenue of this county in solid waste. They will control the flow control of this county. They will control the environment. The county has no restrictions on any environmental issues with that landfill. They are only at the discretion of DEQ's regulations. And as we know, those things are wide open because DEQ says it's the county's problem. So there's this sort of disconnect. There is absolutely no inhibition to noise with that landfill. It can make as much noise as it wants to. There's absolutely no inhibition with smell. It can make as much smell as it needs to make a profit. There is no inhibition with sight. There is no restriction in this county or a constitutional right to a site. And they can make a best faith effort to inhibit those three nuisances, but there is nothing legally that stops them from creating them to the degree that they feel they need to make a profit at the expense of our tourist industry, our main tourist route, Highway 18, all of the productive farms, all of the the potential waterways, and it's the reputation.
Our citizens,
right?
The citizens who actually live here,
right?
Who raise their children here,
right?
Who retire here,
right?
It doesn't make any sense not to protect our environment and our total landscape here. When we know how we can do it. Right.
I'm really optimistic, Frank, that our commissioners are going to do the right thing at this point. And there's a catch to this whole thing. This process has taken a lot longer than Waste Management ever dreamt. They had to get some FEMA permits. They had to buy all sorts of land. It's all taken much longer, and the clock is ticking. And the only outcome, what's going to finally happen from this outcome, is it's going to go to court. The commissioners are going to vote one way or another, but it's going to go to court, and it's going to be in court for years. And there will be a decision by an impartial judge somewhere down the litigation who will not know Ramsey McPhillips, will not know Riverbend Landfill. He'll simply look at the law, and our belief is that that person will vote to deny the expansion. But meanwhile, as that is going on, this county has to prepare for that inevitable vote. If we vote to approve the landfill now, no one will be planning for an eventual legal denial in years. So the only prudent decision the county commissioners can make to make sure that both tracks are still going forward, no matter what the vote is, either an expansion or alternatives, is to deny it so that they can plan for both. If they approve it, all we're going to be studying is a landfill expansion, and that very well may be overturned in the future. And if that's the case, we will neither have a landfill or an alternative in place, and this county will be, up a bad creek.
Right. Well, now see, that was an important article in last week's paper, and now I notice in the News Register that came this week here right on page 3, environmental issues fuel landfill opposition. Financial ramifications dominated a recent consultant's report on Riverbend's proposed landfill expansion, with Yamhill County's limited waste disposal policy making authority enjoying second billing. Well, we have to have a second billing because enough didn't get said or recognized in the first meeting.
Right.
You see, now I was looking at this, and they report then what took place here more than a week ago. See, but I noticed that now we have some other interested parties from our area that are speaking up.
Right.
And one of these is, the amounts are small enough to be safe, Spencer said. Riverbend workers would be most at risk, and their safety is considered in DEQ regulations, he said. Other public comments ran the gamut of expressed opposition concerns. They termed expansion detrimental to tourism, property values, and natural resources.